When most people think of bats, they think of rabies and vampires. But these bats I'm going to be seeing today are not here to suck your blood. Hi, Faith here, and I'm here in the Bat Conservancy Center interviewing Brian, and he is the director here at the Conservancy. So Brian, what type of bats here do you have at the Conservancy Center?
Well, right now we have 11 species of fruit bats at Lubee Bat Conservancy, including this guy right here. This is the Malayan flying fox. This is the largest species of bat in the world. They can get a wingspan up to about 6 feet, and they can weigh up about 3 or 4 pounds. So when it comes to the bat world, these guys are the giants. They don't get any bigger than this. But we also have about 10 other species. Some are little bats that are kind of blonde. We have other bats with orange fur. So we have a pretty good diversity of bat species here at Lubee. But this guy right here is the star of the show. These are the largest bats in the world, and we're very proud to be able to show them off.
So what do you feed your bats here at Lubee?
Well, there are 1,306. As of right now, they're still finding them. 1,306 species of bats in the world. Whenever I first started working with bats, almost 20 years ago, there were 920 species. So in that time, almost 20 years, they found about 400 species. About 20% of those species are these type of bats. These are the old world fruit bats, and like the name suggests, these guys eat fruit. So the type of food that we give these guys, and that's how bats go to the bathroom, the type of food we give these guys is really just a big fruit and vegetable salad. About 36% of their diet is apples, but we also feed them pears, banana, cantaloupe, grapes, sweet potatoes, carrots, kale, and we also put in a vitamin mineral supplement just to make sure they're getting all the fruits, all the vegetables, vitamins, minerals that they need.
Do different species here like different fruits? Do they have personal favorites?
It really depends on the type of bat and actually really the individual. One of their favorites is cantaloupe, which they get cantaloupe in their diet every day, but I always love it. They never seem to get tired of it. But these guys in particular like papaya, they like mango, and they like figs. Now they don't like dry figs. They like them whenever we soak them. These type of bats, whenever they eat fruit, what they'll do is they'll chew up that little piece of fruit or vegetable, whatever they have, just get the juice out of it and then spit out the rest. So anything really juicy they like. It's summertime here, so what these guys really like are the things that are in season. Watermelon, corn on the cob, tomatoes. So it really depends on not just the species but the individual. But I can tell you right now, if we were here with cantaloupe or baby food or juice, they would love it. They kind of have a sweet tooth. Yeah, these type of animals are very curious. They like to get into all sorts of toys we can offer them. There's a chain over here to the side where earlier today we had hung some pieces of fruit that we can be able to give them. They use their thumbs to move around, so if I put this here, he's going to reach out with his left thumb. So whenever we give them chains like that, they like to be able to pull those chains up and get to the enrichment. This right here is kiwi strawberry juice, and they love any type of juice, baby food, just different novelty items that we can give them. And when it comes to enrichment and toys, these guys really like things that make noise. They like different toys that they can take apart. So if you could picture a toy that you would maybe give to a primate or a bird, that's the type of toys that we like to give these guys. Now these type of animals also not only eat fruit, but they drink a lot of nectar. So we have little nectar feeders that we can give them, which is really just a log with holes drilled in it. Wow. And we can put little tubes and fill it up with nectar. These guys seem to get to really enjoy those. Another thing we have to watch out for though is that we got to watch their diet. We don't want to give them too many sweet things. So not only do we give them food enrichment, but we also give them just different types of things for them to move around, things where they can play with that might not have food attached, different olfactory types of enrichment, scent enrichment. So we give them things that are not only just food, but makes them work a little bit, makes them think as well. We really want to try to keep these guys engaged and entertained in their environment.
Do they have any favorites?
Yeah, they really seem to like the chains because they can manipulate them really well. But honestly, anything that we give them that has some juice or some nectar or food, they're going to really interact with it. But it's nice to see them play with some of the toys that don't always just have food attached to them. But like I said, they're pretty curious. But I can tell you, if it does have food attached to it or some kind of juice, they're going to go after it. Like this guy.
So what are some conservation issues facing these bats?
So these bats right here are found in Southeast Asia. They're not found in Florida. And actually all the bats we have here at Lubee are from the old world. So they're from Asia, Africa, and Australia. And a lot of conservation issues affecting these bats are really deforestation and overhunting. Really the issues that are affecting a lot of other species as well. I know he wants more of this juice. We have a lot of conservation programs, and in the 25 years that we've been around, we've funded projects in 19 countries. And we kind of see a lot of the same thing over and over. We have deforestation affects these guys. These type of bats, they don't roost in caves, they roost in trees, so they need forests. And forests need these guys as well. In certain areas of the world, especially in Central and South America, and also in Southeast Asia where this species is found, these guys are responsible for about 95% of the regrowth of the rainforest. So they're very, very important where they come from. These guys need the rainforest, and the rainforest need them as well. So we see deforestation affecting these bats, but also overhunting. If you look at this guy, even though he's the largest species of bat in the world, doesn't really have a lot of weight to him. So if somebody wants to make a meal out of them, they have to kill a lot of them, and that's what we're seeing is it's unsustainable overhunting that's really affecting these guys. So what we do with our conservation programs is we work with our global partners to really try to find out what the root of the problem is and to work with the local communities. And a lot of these communities do rely on these bats as a food source, but we work with them to teach them, maybe you want to not hunt these bats whenever it's maternity season. Maybe you'd want to have certain seasons where you just let the populations rebound. And we found that working with communities is the one really successful way to have effective conservation measures.
So what would happen if we had no bats here on Earth?
If we didn't have any bats on Earth, there'd be a lot of problems. So one right here in the United States, we'd have a lot more insects. There was actually a study done in 2011 by the U.S. Geological Survey, and they found out that bats in the United States save farmers between $3.7 and $53 billion a year by reducing the need for pesticides. So right here in the United States and in Florida, if we didn't have bats, we'd have a lot more bugs around, a lot more agricultural pests, and a lot more mosquitoes. Now, fruit bats like these guys, we rely on these bats for about 186 different agricultural products. Things like banana, cashews, tamarinds, agave, a lot of different types of plants and fruits that we depend on are because of these guys. So these are the ones that are pollinating the flowers. These guys are the ones dispersing the seeds. And even the big, giant, majestic baobab trees that are in Africa and Madagascar need bats to pollinate the flowers. So we wouldn't have a lot of those agricultural crops, a lot of the fruits and vegetables we depend on without bats like this. We'd have a lot of insects in the United States if it weren't for the bats that we have right here. There's actually a disease right now in North America called white nose syndrome that is really, really affecting native bat populations by disturbing them whenever they're hibernating. And it's killed about 7 million bats so far, so we need conservation measures and education awareness for our bats, not only here in Florida, the United States, but globally. They're very important to ecosystems, but they're also important to our economy.
Do you have a favorite type of bat?
I do. Curry and Grace are definitely two of my favorites here, and usually when you work with animals, you try not to have favorites, but it's impossible. So Curry is a spectacled flying fox, and she was actually left on our doorstep in a kennel in 2001. We don't know where she came from or who had her, but they obviously did a pretty good job because she's a very kind of a well-behaved bat. She can get a little obnoxious. She's always hungry, so she's always looking for food. But Curry's definitely one of my favorites just because she's so friendly, she's so personable. And then we also have another bat here. He was one of the first ones that you saw whenever you came in. He's a big Malayan flying fox, and his name is Arthur. And I think that I like Arthur so much just because I've been around him for years. I used to be a zookeeper here from 1996 to 1998, so I knew him back then. He was actually brought to us in 1990. So he's been here for quite a long time, but the saying, whenever you're working with animals, you try not to have your favorites, but everybody does. Curry's definitely one of my favorites, and Arthur is as well.
I just wrapped up here at the Lubee Bat Conservancy, and I figured out something amazing. Bats can paint. Did you know that?